Okay, so the next part we need to work on for the media queries is the heads. So when we shrink these down, we want this headline to get smaller. If you watch it here, when we're above 600 pixels, it is the normal size. We go under and it shrinks down a little bit. So that is controlled by the class inside head. Let's take a look. We have a header class inside head, and so we have an H2 inside of that. We also have a place where we have an inside head H1. Well, I have it in my code. Apparently I don't actually have one, which is good because I'm not sure why we would want to have that. This inside, or this head, is not in that style, so we don't have to worry about this one. We have all of our other ones in H2s, so we're looking at header class inside head with the H2. Remember, we don't want to just do it on H2s because we're using H2 up here in the first section in a different way. So let's go to our media queries. Oops. So we're going to do inside head H2, font size 3 rem, and before it was 3.8 rem. So we're taking it down a little bit. All the rest of the styles are going to stay the same, and that's what you're seeing with these media queries is that we are only changing the part of the style definition that we need to for the media query to work, for the changes that we want to make for any size. We are not changing all of the style definitions, just the one particular or two particular ones that need to be addressed for any given style. So this one we saved already, and you'll see that by doing that at 600, we now have a smaller size on the heads, and over 600 we have the other size. The next thing we'll deal with are these samples and getting them to line up in rows of 3 instead of rows of 4. So let's go see just real quick how we did that in the first place to review. In the code itself, those are in the article class samples, and they are LIs inside of there for each one. So we're looking at LIs inside samples. That style is here. And note we also have some references to nth child. So in samples LI, we have them now at 24 wide with a margin of 1.3 or 1 1/3%. So that was the math to do 4 in a row, and we need math now to do 3 in a row. It's actually a little bit simpler. We don't have all those decimal places. So to do 3 in a row, we're going to type in our selector, which is samples LI, and what we need to change is the width. So in order to get 3 of them across, we're going to do 32% on each one of them and 2% in between. And so 32 times 3 is 96, and then those margins inside brings it to 100%. We need to take off that last margin right on the third one. So samples Li, nth child 3n. So every third one, we're going to take that margin off. So let's just go take a look and see what that does. Oh, now that's all screwed up. We're here, everything's fine. Then we go down to under 600, and all of a sudden we are going into weird columns. So let's go look at the code and see why that is. Okay, so back up to the top, samples Li, note we're taking off the margin right on the fourth, and we're clearing on the fifth. Well, what's happening is we haven't made those changes yet over here. So we're really happy when we get to the third, we go right into the next row like we're supposed to, but then it says, oh, the fourth one we're supposed to go over. This one doesn't have a margin on it, so the fourth one doesn't have a margin, but the fifth one we're clear, and so it's supposed to go back another row again, and that's what happens down here again. So we need to get that off of there. We need to take off this stuff. So the 4n and the 5n, we need to make some adjustments to. By the way, a little shortcut in Dreamweaver that we might not have mentioned, if I highlight a section and I hit the tab, it will take the whole thing over one tab stop. So the fourth n, in this case, we have the third n, the fifth n, let's take that clear off of it. And the fourth one, we need to put this margin back onto. It's really the only way to cancel out that nth child 4n is to put the margin back on. If we had said something like margin none, then it's going to put 0 on that one. We don't want that. So we just need to say, okay, what margin do I want on every fourth one? And in this case, it is 2%. Moving down the page, well, first let's just make sure that this actually worked for us. So looks like still have a little bit of a problem. And I suspect that it is in here. In the code that I have that's working, I have that fifth n first. So let's see if that works. Yes, it does. So this is an order of specificity, again, that we need to make sure everything's in the right order. We wanted to take off the margin on the third one to make these line up. The fifth one we were having a clear on, so we have to take that off and then add back in the right margin on the fourth one. This is kind of a case of you play with it until you get it right. And so it does matter which order these are in. It's just not being goofy to put the fifth, and then the fourth. So we just need to make sure that we get those in the right order. In the next video, we'll take a look at the form section and moving these where we want them to go.